You know, they're kids, they come out, they know what's on the line, but I just hope they all play well.
Everyone talks about getting to a Sweet 16. That's the validation for the upper echelon programs. Which of these two teams is going to be moving on as the Tigers control, and we are off and running here in Memphis. Clemson team that has won 22 games this season. They won 11-9 in conference in the ACC this year. This is Hunter, who is tremendous. A season-high 21 points in their opening round win. As Clemson comes up empty.
Gives you a good shot of what they're going to try to do.
Ray J. Dennis, Jim, that's a key matchup in this game. Dennis against Hunter.
It's a fabulous one. I think also the Nunn with Gerard are also pretty good too. Look at Hall, he's coming out.
This is Shefflin underneath to P.J. Hall. A little bit too much. Good defense inside by Bridges.
Yeah, there's that matchup. They're going to try to play Bridges on him in case Hall goes out to the perimeter, try to shoot long shots early on.
This is Yves Nisi, who's dealing with a little bit of a rib injury that he sustained the other night, but he's okay as Walton misfires on his first, and the rebound corralled by Jack Clark.
Feeling one another out early on here.
Remember the other key missing piece for Baylor and Scott Drew, Langston Love, who's on the shelf, done for the postseason with that ankle injury. Just feel terrible for that kid. All the injuries that he's had over the last couple of years, missing their postseason runs. Shefflin.
That's the outside combo that you'll see with Shefflin and Hall. They'll exchange. Remember, Hall got into foul trouble with 2 early ones the other night. So if they can keep them both on the floor, they'll have the exchanges going, force Baylor to play them a little differently.
This is Jaden Nunn, the VCU transfer. Slithers into the paint, and we get the contact here before the shot attempt.
So we'll see it. Take a look with Hall down on the blocks, right? He's going to try to come across the middle of the lane. He gets a pretty good shot off, but defensively makes him out of the way, and then Shefflin just steps out, shoots the ball from long range. Nice little touch there when he shoots it.
Walter, and he bangs it at 3. This kid has talent every level of the floor that he can put it in.
Well, you look at the percentage of the way their perimeter guys shoot the ball from long range. It's percentage is one thing, but the percentage of shots is very, very high for them.
Well, here's P.J. Hall. Can he stay on the floor? As good as any big in the country. Only played 18 minutes in their opening round game. As you see what Baylor has done, only team in the country to be a 3-seed or higher in each of the last 4 tournaments.
One of the things that might keep Hall on the floor a little longer, Spiro, is they don't dump it down to Misi all that much, even though he has it right now.
Here's Misi, the 5-star freshman, offensive foul.
And there's Hall defensively stepping up in terms of playing defense. And interesting enough, he doesn't get the arms going out. Misi gets it out front. Hall just reads it perfectly. Little lead with the shoulder. Good call from the officials to go the other way.
Brad Brownell said he had a little chat with Hall. Said, look, not that he needed to hear it. Got to stay on the floor.
Yeah.
If this team's going to make their deep run that they hope.
Look at this matchup now. They switched already to a matchup.
Shefflin thought about maybe high-low.
You got to run your offense man-to-man.
Misi just swallows up Shefflin on the box. Here comes Nunn inside. The kick to Dennis. He'll reset. Dennis able to take Shefflin, making it look easy.
Yeah, and getting the big guy moving a little bit, too. At 6'8", he knew he could get by him. Here's a nice double team.
Shefflin. Boy, he can do everything. Such a good passer. Backdoor cut, finding Clark.
Yeah, and it's amazing with Clark. Sometimes he goes under-noticed on this team, but he had 6 points and 8 rebounds in the first round. So watch for him to do a little bit of damage without scoring a whole lot of points.
This is Nunn. He's going to fire with 3. A little bit too much. Fight for the rebound, and Jeffrey Anderson says it belongs to Clemson.
Good effort there by Bridges. And watch the right shoulder get around. As soon as you get that right shoulder, Spiro tucked around the defender in good shape. And here's that little bounce pass, a little 2-on-1 action.
Jim, we started talking about Baylor's highly efficient offense. How impressed with Clemson's defense so far?
Yeah, and that's why they made that quick switch. They saw Hall go out and Shefflin from outside. They mixed it up a little bit, and they went to this little matchup zone. And then you start to think, if you're Clemson, what is this zone? Is it man-to-man or is it a zone? Run your offense as if it's a man-to-man set.
Early feeling out process continues. We get a whistle here before the pass from Gerard. It'll be on Baylor. Baylor and Clemson doing battle on the big stage here in Memphis. Where this program was prior to his arrival in 2003, they were languishing, losing seasons. And you just consider what he's built, Jimmy. National championship in 21, 5 Sweet 16s, 3 Elite 8s. Program that had been to the NCAA tournament a grand total of 4 times ever prior to Scott Drew's arrival. Just incredible. A little baby hook shot of the interior from Hall. As Ojanwuna has checked into the game for Baylor for the first time. This is Walters going to fire with kind of a flat-footed 3, misses well short, and Shefflin holds.
Yeah, you see the orange shirts. There were 4 of them around the paint area just then. There you go. You have to watch Gerard. They left him alone one time before at the elbow, and he didn't take the shot. So they're back to this matchup zone right now.
This is Hunter, who had the hot hand early and often the other night, and he picks up where he left off.
See, one of the things about Hunter is when Gerard is on the floor, that was a great example of them hunting down Gerard to make sure he doesn't get going with his rhythm shooting and really streaky three-point shooting. But that leaves a little bit of space for a guy like Hunter to answer. Nice backdoor pass.
Backdoor, Walter. As the officials are going to get P.J. Hall here. That'll be his first aggressive cut backdoor by Walter.
You see the 2 guys guarding him right there, and then all of a sudden Hunter can just basically catch and shoot. A much easier shot than having to put it on the floor.
Oh, you can watch live men's games on your computer, phone, tablet, or streaming device with NCAA March Madness Live. Download now to stay up to date on all the action.
Spiro, I love the timeout right now with Hall going to the bench. The last thing you want him to do is get involved in some kind of traffic play, pick up an extra foul, and take him out of the game, not only physically, but more importantly, mentally for this amount of time.
Second leading scorer in the ACC this season was Hall, so he will sit here. Let's keep tabs on where this game goes now with him on the bench for the next couple of minutes.
Somebody's going to have to drive the ball by this matchup zone, make something happen off the dribble.
This is Gerard, lets it fly and hits. Encouraging early signs for Clemson.
And Hunter brought the ball to the right side just enough, and Gerard came up off the left side to fill that spot. So great ball movement away from the ball and a beautifully timed setup.
Tigers have hit their first 3 from deep. Here comes Bridges, tremendous the other night. Strong move to the rack.
And he read Shefflin's lack of defense on that play perfectly. Shefflin came out of him standing up out of the defensive crouch. What a great time to go by somebody when you get them to lock their knees.
Jalen Bridges comes in red hot, 23 the other night, back-to-back 20-point games in the biggest moments of the season. Hunter, friendly little bounce, and right now Clemson getting any shot that they want, and they're all quality.
And a mixture right there, shooting the Gerard 3 the first time, then putting it on the bounce. I think they have to put it on the bounce to get Baylor rotating, and then you can make another shot from the outside or put it back on the floor and attack. So you have 2 choices there.
Miro Little has checked into the game for Scott Drew. That's Bridges starting to catch fire again.
Yeah, 5 of 8 in that last game, so from the 3-point stripe. Back to man right now. So Scott Drew is trying to switch it to confuse the guards a little bit.
Saw the shooting for Clemson.
It's easier though, Spiro, when you switch a defense and it's man-to-man, it's more natural to run your sets against that than rather than the matchup, which slows you down a bit.
Shefflin bobbles, recovers, he's got to hurry, 3 to shoot, kicks near side, that's a wide open 3 from Clark, no. Godfrey the bump, and he finishes.
Did you notice how 2 players for Baylor were laying on the floor? They bumped into one another. It was Little and might have been Nunn. 2 guys down, and wide open layup there because of the offensive rebound.
Jimmy, very few empty trips so far for Clemson as we'll get a whistle here just off the ball as Ojanwuna is bumped by Shefflin. And that'll be Shefflin's first and number 3 against Clemson.
Yeah, just see how Shefflin came out and stood up just then, and now they start to attack. And look at Bridges. A right-handed shooter coming that way is pretty difficult, and now you use the baseline a little bit. This ball is kind of snapping around. That was a good shot from the corner and a better finish underneath.
Chauncey Wiggins is checked into the game for Brad Brownell. Now, Baylor wondered where they would get some of the points that they lost with Langston Love unavailable. And boy, the emergence now of Bridges couldn't come at a better time for this Baylor team.
Watch Lohner on the offensive glass too for Baylor. Here he is.
Dennis, what a pass inside. It's Lohner.
He stepped out of bounds on his cut when he caught that.
So it's the second Baylor turnover.
Has to establish both of those feet in bounds.
That was one of the things we were talking about with Jeffrey Anderson. You're unbelievable. Jimmy, the prophet.
Oh, nice
look
play.
at this one.
Nice
away. Walter. Officials say jump, and the possession arrow is going to get it to the Bears. Aggressive defense by Walter. Second round coverage of the NCAA Division I Women's Basketball Championship continues today on the ESPN networks. For more information on game times and listings, go to ncaa.com.
There's that high screen. Look at Dennis. He makes just great decisions.
Boy, Dennis, he's playing at a high level. What an acquisition he's been for this program. Dennis, the 2-time transfer, Boise State. Last couple of years at Toledo, was the MAC Player of the Year last season.
And by the way, he's a right-handed player who made that left-handed scoop shot almost as if that was his strong hand.
Good point. Hunter looking for an answer. Shot clock here. This will be a kick.
Yeah, get an extra 11 seconds on the possession.
Well, this has been some high-level basketball from both teams. We got plenty of star power and a lot on the line here in Memphis on TNT. Moments in the history of this tournament. Who could forget 1998? Valpo, Ole Miss, Bryce Drew hitting the shot that they're still talking about on that campus. And the coach of that team, of course, was Homer Drew, one of the all-time great coaches. Here watching his son, Scott, who just a couple of seconds ago spoke to John Rothstein.
All right, Scott, how do you accelerate the tempo of this game?
Well, we're starting to get some mojo, starting to get aggressive defensively. Credit them, they've hit a couple shots in our zone, and when you hit shots, it's hard to get out and run. So we got to get some stops and then try to get the pace going. They like to keep it slower.
All right, thanks. Talk to you in a bit.
Thanks.
All right, Homer's stressful couple of days. He was out in Spokane for Grand Canyon watching his other son, Bryce, getting that first-round win over St. Mary's. And it will be Grand Canyon continuing what has been an incredible season for them as they're getting ready to tip in a little bit against Alabama.
Spiro Hall back on the floor right now, so they'll try to get it in maybe to the free throw line thereabouts and look for him down low.
There's a jump pass into the corner, and that's a 3. How about this start for the Tigers, Clark?
You know, the only thing I would add, too, is Scott Drew talking about Clemson's pace. If they get an opportunity, they will run up the floor, whether it's on a steal or a rebounding opportunity off the defensive glass. So don't discount that. Nice look, good hands, even better hands right in there.
Chase Hunter got a hand on it, and that's the 3rd turnover that Clemson has forced. As we come up on the midway point of this first half.
Nice catch by Hall.
Boy, so much offensive skill. Clemson right now is 9 for 14. 7 assists, Jim, on their 9 made field goals.
Yeah, and I'll tell you, Spiro, on that pass to him, catching that at the ball, down by his feet like that, probably 90% of the big guys would not have gathered that ball up, never mind finish it off.
Uniquely gifted big man who's the centerpiece of this Clemson squad. Walter underneath the catch. Ojanwa the gather and the finish.
Pretty good look there, too, by Walter out front to recognize that they're not getting the wings open as much as they want right now, so somebody's got to have to score.
It's a rare miss there from Chauncey Wiggins. Not sure Brad Brownell was pleased with that shot as he kind of threw his head back in frustration. Then they leave Dennis. This is an open 3, and Hall clears.
Might have been on the timing of that shot in the sequence. Probably wanted to wait just a little bit. Now that they're down the floor, once they get it into a half-court set, don't just take something immediately, because he thinks they can get a little better action going. Watch the backdoor slips here, too, on these sets.
Three-pointer from Hunter, a little bit too much.
Maybe starting to settle a little too much from the outside. Got to mix it up again. They were doing that earlier.
They run Dylan Hunter off the screen. This is Lohner, puts it on the deck, leans in, creates the space, pulled it a little bit short, and Baylor's offense has gone cold.
Yeah, sometimes that shot will come up short if you stop on a dime and then you have to retrieve and float away from the basket just a little bit. You need a little more arc on that ball.
Clemson team that won 22 games this season, trying to get back to the Sweet 16 for the first time since 2018. Hall's going to launch.
Yeah, but that's the one they have to keep shooting. That three I can live with if I'm Clemson, because that'll open up the middle of the floor for driving opportunities, even though he didn't make it.
Hall during the season a 32% three-point shooter. Clemson is 4 of 8 from distance so far. Walter, he's going to fire, and he's fouled. This is going to be on Dylan Hunter, so the freshman will shoot 3.
So a little mix here with the Clemson offense kind of spreading the floor. Watch the corner. Nobody for Baylor recognizes he goes to the corner. Wide open shot. And then watch Hall catch this ball, Spiro. Right down by, I mean, that's like a shortstop picking that one up and making a play out of it. Clearly, in my mind, most 6'10" guys would have that ball go right through their legs.
So here's Jacoby Walter, the 5-star freshman from McKinney, Texas, 5-star recruit. And so Scott Drew told us he's got 0 stars in terms of his ego. Such a humble kid.
But from a scouting report when you're playing against him, right? If you look at the perimeter for Baylor, he shoots 57% of his shots from the three-point line. Dennis 43%, Bridges 57, and Nunn 44. Obviously, they're trying to take them out of that game.
There's Jacoby's parents, Sabrina, Eddie Jr. They actually named him after Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant. No pressure, Jimmy.
After all this, I thought it was after me with the James, J.A.
Jim was under consideration.
Yeah, exactly.
They went with Jacoby.
Cool name, though.
Shefflin on the wing. This is Gerard. He's going to get him reset.
Look at Nunn. He's trying to beat him off the dribble.
This is Dylan Hunter. Shot clock down to 6. Shefflin against Nisi. The spin, the flick, and he's going to shoot free throws.
Is that...
I'll be prepared for history to be written, hearts to be broken, and one champion to be chosen in the 2024 Stanley Cup playoffs. NHL on TNT playoff coverage begins April the 20th on TBS and Max. What a player Ian Shefflin has become. We mentioned the other performance that he had the other night, the Chef Hats. He's become a fan favorite. 16 and 12, and they needed him to step into some of that void with the foul issues that PJ Hall had. And granted, that game was never really in doubt, but
he answered though, right? 16 points, 12 rebounds, very active, passing the ball.
ACC's most improved player this season as a junior.
Stay on the perimeter if you're Clemson and don't get out of position with reaching. This is a tough matchup here for Hall.
Bridges, it's going to be a travel.
Yep, played it well because it was too much. He went to the traffic side instead of come over to the left side where he could have been one-on-one with Hall.
Boy, Brad Brownell has to be really pleased with what his defense has been able to do against one of the more prodigious offenses in the country in Baylor.
Cotton candy's going to stick to that little guy, right? I remember my kids, you'd find cotton candy like 2 days later behind their ears. But that was a cute little guy eating that cotton candy there.
Do you have any wet naps, Jimmy, to send over? Here's Gerard around the screen, and he hits. You don't want to let him get hot early, as he was able to leave none in his wake.
Nice little set to get him a free look. He missed a couple of those the other night, and he was shaking his head, as was we, thinking that he should bury those shots. Good perimeter defense so far to really take them away from their three-point shooting expertise.
Nunn looking for an opening. This is Lohner. They'll reset, 3 to shoot. Nunn has to work quickly. Gerard kept his feet. Nunn fires, misses.
It's a good decision by Nunn there to go under Gerard just then. Well, that's not going to work.
Careless pass by Hunter. Jim, what are the Tigers doing defensively that's worked so well?
Well, when you look at the curl first, Spiro, in terms of the one dribble, that one big dribble separates him from the defender. Even if the defender is close to him, that one dribble is extending and getting by. And I just like the way they're playing the perimeter. When you look at it in terms of the reaction to the ball, you have one there, you have two coming up, three right there, the next pass. They're just attention to detail on the perimeter, forcing them to go to the basket.
Dennis, a little bit of a bump by Chase Hunter here. And they're going to put Ray J. Dennis at the free throw line. Little tournament summary for you. A couple of big games coming down the stretch in Pittsburgh over the past 3 days. And what do these two teams have in store for us here in Memphis with a couple of Sweet 16 tickets waiting to be punched? Here's Ray J. Dennis at the free throw line. First NCAA tournament for him. And, he was tremendous, Jimmy, in their opening round victory here against New Mexico. 10 points, 9 assists.
Yeah, he stacks up the assists too. You know, he's very sneaky with that because you don't think of him making fancy passes, but he's just making deliberate, fundamental passes. And next thing you know, you look up and he's finished with 9 assists, helping his teammates out.
Their first round win against Colgate, I should say. But he was the orchestrator, and when he's playing at that level, this has been a different Baylor team this season.
Look at the triangle they just formed over there on the left side to get the ball to Hall.
Hall, and there's going to be a foul, and it will be the second against Hall. And that is a potentially critical call. Hall's going to sit. R.J. Godfrey is going to come in.
Watch the second bump. The second one is the one they usually look for, and I'm not so sure that was that difficult and that hard a bump.
Let's check in with John.
Brownell told us yesterday that P.J. Hall can't get into foul trouble. Clemson has lost 4 games this season when he's had 4 or more fouls. Something to monitor moving forward, guys.
All right, so potential turning point in this game at the 6:12 mark. Hall sits.
Still a pretty good time to challenge the middle of the paint, too.
They leave Dennis. A little bit short in the 3. Tapped out Walter. Dennis, another chance. Wow. Another offensive rebound. They get it to Walter as we cross the 6-minute mark.
They're getting great bounces on the misses, aren't they? They're coming right back to them. Clemson not boxing out.
This is Misi, the leaner, and they come up empty. 3 chances, no points.
Might be Shefflin time, too, again, right? With Hall on the bench like the other night. Nice hand.
Gerard's pass, none. Beautifully done. Nunn streaks up the floor. Misi, hard step back.
So Gerard thought that Shefflin was going to step in there for him, and he just dropped that in no man's land, allowing them, Baylor, to come down the floor in a hurry.
One of the top freshmen in the Big 12 this season for Scott Drew, and suddenly it's a 1-possession game. 3-pointer from Gerard, no good. That's his first miss.
He get it off in a hurry because his footwork is so good in terms of setting those feet. Here's the challenge right here.
Here comes Walter. What a pass, but Misi wasn't ready. That's going to be the 5th Baylor turnover as we get you thrilling drives presented by Nissan.
Yeah, see, Nunn knows that he has Shefflin backpedaling right there, so he throws it up somehow. And that's just a good effort by Misi coming down the floor to finish it up, getting the big guy coming down at 7 feet tall.
Clemson, meanwhile, at this end, they've turned it over on 3 of their last 4 possessions. Here comes Chase Hunter, up and under the fake, misses, and they come up empty again.
Yeah, Misi with the read that time, Spiro. Perfectly designed drive to the basket, but Misi read that and switched on it.
So Chase Hunter, after hitting the early 2 shots, as we get a block here, it's going to be on Shefflin. A Clemson bench arguing that Misi kind of lost control of it.
Yeah, one of the toughest calls right there. Let's take a look in terms of right in the middle of the floor. Who creates the contact? There's not a whole lot, but you see that arm coming out. May have been a slight extension right there to create the contact.
So 1-on-1 situation here. What do you do with Shefflin, Jimmy, as he picks up his 2nd personal? And a lot on the mind of Brad Brownell. He's going to sit.
Yeah, that's what you do with them. Because I have always looked at it, Spiro, in a close game like this, they got a little lead. Rebounds are starting to go away from them. Both bigs are on the bench, so that's another offensive rebound. And you can tag that with 4 minutes and change to go to see how Baylor does on the offensive glass.
Haven't done well on the glass last couple of minutes. Nunn poked away by Chase Hunter, and then they swallowed Nunn up. Nisi.
Oh, that was a terrific reaction by Clemson with 3 of their guys all reacting at once, because I thought that was going to be a layup.
So critical juncture of this last part of the first half as Hunter finds the laces and hits a big 3 to try to restore some order for the Tigers.
Yeah, his coach said yesterday to us, he said, well, when he scored his points, 21 points, is that abnormal for him? He said, no, he does that. He's confident that he can put up big numbers and score.
They need him here with both Shefflin and Hall on the bench for the Tigers.
Nice hit.
Bridges poked away, Gerard the steal. Little 2-on-1 run out, bump. And now Gerard looks like he's a little bit hurt. Quickly onto his feet. He's going to shoot free throws when we come back.
Yeah, nice decision with the quick release. You get a turnover. This is what I meant before. Clemson will run on you if they get opportunities. And watch the body action. Good call from the officials with Gerard going after it.
Baylor really struggling offensively. One of the premier offenses in the country. They're one of their last 10. 1 basket in the last 7 minutes. And now another piece of potentially big news, as Jalen Bridges in pain was escorted into the Baylor locker room. Let's get more on him now with John.
Well, Spiro, according to the Baylor trainer, Jalen Bridges has went back to the locker room. They're going to take a look at his foot. He hurt the foot on that hard drive by Joe Girard. Monitoring the situation right now, Spiro.
Now keep in mind, no Langston Love, still out with that ankle injury. And one other thing to point out, Jacoby Walter, Jimmy, picked up his 2nd personal for them, as Gerard's going to shoot free throws. There's Love. Just hate to see it for that young man. Had the ACL a couple of years ago. Last year, that corneal abrasion, was barely able to play in their tournament run.
And Spiro, where Brad Brunell has made his decision to put 2 guys on the bench with 2 fouls, we still have Walter on the floor with 2 fouls. Very important for him to be careful. I know he's a shooter from the outside, but can go after the basket. He's got to be careful.
John, what do you have?
Well, Spiro, Jalen Bridges is back on the bench, a little uncomfortable, but he should be fine to go back in the game according to the Baylor trainer.
All right, really good news for Baylor. This is Lohner as we come up on the final 3 minutes before halftime. Working against Wiggins, sandwich between 2, and he misses.
Yeah, with Bridges, I mean, he's a tough kid. It's going to be awfully difficult to keep him off the floor as he gets off the bench over there. He's going to check in next dead ball. And this is where it's important for Walter to make sure this possession, he does not pick up a foul.
Clemson's top 2 bigs, Hall and Shefflin, both still on the bench with 2 personals apiece. So they got to go a little bit deeper into their bench. How about that defense? Ojanwuna.
And notice Walter stayed way away from reaching in and trying to help his teammate out.
Can this Baylor offense get some rhythm here before the intermission?
I think you still have to put it on the floor and go by somebody occasionally here just to keep them out. Whoa, man, what a collision there.
Hunter got a piece of it as the officials allowing some of the physical contact. 10 seconds to shoot for Baylor.
Bridges back into the game. And I'd be surprised if Walter doesn't. Oh, he's bringing Lohner out. He's gonna ride with Walter. A lot of confidence.
So Bridges back in. This was Bridges, the contact that he took. Saw him grimace a little bit as he got to his feet. Inbound here to Nunn. They've got to work quickly. Nunn recognizes, leans in. Not a good sequence off the inbounds. Gerard on the push.
Gotta go out and find them. Good job there by Dennis to close that down.
Jimmy, let's see if they attack Walter, who's still in the game with 2 personals.
Yeah, get Wiggins maybe an opportunity on the blocks. He's over here. Why not get it to him if you can?
Under 2 minutes to play before.
There you go.
Inside, Wiggins, beautiful seal. And Clemson has its biggest lead of the night.
And good setup by you, too, to remind me about Wiggins over there. Thanks.
I'm here for you, pal. So Baylor wanted their last 12, and they turn it over.
They sealed the middle of the floor. No lob opportunity.
What a difference a couple of days makes for Baylor as they have run into a Clemson defense that has been stingy. Look at the shooting discrepancy again. This is a top 5 offensive efficiency team in the country in Baylor.
3-on-1 if they hurry.
Hunter the turnover. Dennis, this is Walter. Transition three. Big shot for Baylor.
And the old days, Spiro, 3-on-1 would have ended up with a layup. The new game they play now, they spot up and shoot the threes. Good decision, especially when you can get it to a guy who shoots it so effectively from there.
Walter, 19 points in their opening round win against Colgate. The electrifying freshman cuts it to 7.
Yeah, here they come. Spread the court and sit on the three-point line. Put the brakes on. There you go. Money.
Clemson team, they were one of the better schools, Jimmy, the first month plus of the season. They jumped out to a 9-0 start. Really impressive wins. They beat Alabama on the road against Pittsburgh, that terrific Pitt team that got as high as 13th in the country. And they're showing everyone just how good they can be if you get them on the wrong night. Hunter kicks out. This is Godfrey. No.
Good help there by Dennis. That ball was up for grabs for Gerard just then.
Scott Drew's going to take a timeout here. So P.J. Hall and Shefflin still on the bench with 2 personals. 33 seconds left in this opening half in Memphis.
Scott's team has 8 3-point attempts taken. They average 22, so they're a little under that average for the game in terms of attempts. So I think they got to continue to think about driving it to the basket, especially without the 2 big guys who are on the bench for Clemson right now. But this is a big set just to give them a little bit of a lift going in, and clearly for Clemson on the defensive side. And Walter has to be real careful with his decisions still on the offensive end. He's vital to this team for the second half with 2 fouls.
You mentioned their 3-point shooting. Baylor top 10 in the country in 3-point accuracy.
And about 7, they're probably going to go now.
Shot clock down to 10. Ray J. Dennis. A double transfer guarded by Chase Hunter here. Clemson is out of fouls. Dennis on the bounce. This is Walter. Deep shot. No. Godfrey clears. 3 seconds. Hunter counts it. It goes and it goes. And that the perfect exclamation point to a brilliant first half for the Tigers.
Spiro, watch this play too as he comes up. He's defended pretty well. Watch the clutch right here. He goes up, he clutches, pulls it back, and watch over here. Watch what he does. He looks over at the bench. Dennis, he stops him, makes him take a tough shot, and then he looks over and says, what else am I supposed to do?
John standing by with Brad Brown.
All right, Brad, could you have played a better first half?
No, probably not, especially with PJ and Ian being in foul trouble the last couple of minutes there.
How did you extend the lead with P.J. Hall on the bench?
Defense, we stopped them and had chances to get out and run just like right there.
All right, thanks. Talk to you soon. Spiro.
So P.J. Hall, John, sat with 6:16 left in the half. Shefflin sat at the 4:25 mark. They hold Baylor to 1 basket for the final 10 and change. Incredible. AT&T at the half next on TNT. John, you spoke to Scott Drew. What did he tell you?
Yes, Spiro. Scott Drew just told me that in order for Baylor to get back in this game, it has to do a number of things. First, stop turning the ball over. The second, start making some open shots. And third, Baylor has to do a better job defensively on Chase Hunter. That's at the top of the bullet points, Spiro, for Scott Drew, for Baylor to get back in this game here in the second half, Spiro.
And John, the bad news for them, P.J. Hall sat the final 6:16 in the first half, and Ian Shefflin sat for nearly the last 5 minutes.
Yeah, and if I were both of those guys, I'd keep my hands to myself down at the other end of the floor.
Hall on the spin, deflected out of bounds with 14 to shoot.
Yeah, the last thing they need is either Hall or Shefflin to kind of reach and go over the top. Don't be too aggressive in the first 3 minutes of this half. Get yourself to that 16-minute mark with just still 2 fouls. I think you'll be in great shape.
If you've just joined us, Baylor has never led. Look at the spin, Hall.
There's that initial set, just like we saw in the first half. Plug the ball down to the blocks and make them go to work and force Baylor to defend.
Second leading scorer in the ACC was Hall this season at just under 19 per game. This is Bridges. How does this Baylor team handle some adversity with none getting the leader?
Yeah, I think what they need to do too, Spiro, is they're basically exchanging 2 big guys, allowing Clemson to switch on them. You got to get a guard and a forward involved with that.
Boy, Bridges nearly came up with the steal. Tigers going to reset. This is Shefflin.
Here's the high-low action again.
Hall on the box. Bridges initially was there, and Hall misses the little flick.
Good stay away, too, the second time there by Bridges to get the rebound. Watch out.
Nisi ducks under. Nice effort by Hall to get him to pump fake.
Yeah, really, Hall was back underneath his own basket and found a way to get down there in a hurry and transition defense to save a bucket just then. Big play.
And even more importantly, didn't pick up a foul.
Good point.
As Hall playing with 2. Hall, the drop step, missed again.
A little bit of a bump with that arm. Did you catch that one as he hit him right across the waist?
So a 10-point lead for Clemson.
I think you still have to challenge the glass.
Bridges into the corner where they need Dennis to play big. That is a huge early 3.
You see the couple of dribbles, though, with Baylor and Bridges on the left side there. 1 or 2 dribbles with a purpose is enough to get defensive guys off you and helping out to free up the shooters.
So Dennis with his first 3 of the night. Boy, that one nearly had the perfect English on it. As Chase Hunter earns a trip to the free throw line.
I think you're going to see both teams really focus on the paint area in this half. You're absolutely right. That almost went in. And watch down the other end, too. Watch the couple of dribbles. Bring the ball here. You see the reaction, and then you just can't get back. Hunter has to help out, and he bites for that 1 or 2 dribbles because it's done with a purpose, Spiro. It's not just up and down dribbling. It's dribbling towards the basket to make somebody defend you.
It's a Clemson team, Jimmy, that finished 5th in the ACC. They were safely in the field before that ACC tournament loss to Boston College, and because of that performance, probably didn't get the pub and the conversation that they deserve, but they were excellent the first part of the year. As Brad Brownell has them in the tournament for the first time in 4 years. Mentioned some of the big games that they won. Don't forget the win that they had at Chapel Hill against the Tar Heels. Again, on their best day, this team as good as any school in the country as they get some contact underneath. Let's see what the officials say here.
Might be Hall.
If it is, that's his 3rd personal.
And that's a great, Spirit, that's a great example of what I was just talking about, getting a small guy and a big guy involved. Get the big guy involved in a pick and roll outside. Don't keep exchanging either bigs. And then make sure you attack once you get that opportunity. I was talking a minute ago about getting to the 16-minute mark approximately. I think they're going to have to, yeah, here they go. They're going to have to make a sub for him because the last thing you want is, just like in the first half, Spiro, you don't want a guy like Hall picking up another one. Obviously, having 4 would really redirect his approach to the game. But take him out physically and emotionally and mentally of this game so you save some time.
None. Misses on the second free throw, and they're unable to corral the rebound in the corner. So Brad Brownell now with P.J. Hall again on the bench. Remember, he had to sit the final 6 and change of the first half.
A little twist now. 1-2-2 defense. Let's see if they go back into a man-to-man. They find their guys. Yep. A little twist there by Baylor to try to push it up on the defensive side a little bit.
Hunter lead pass, Gerard. He can stroke it, and he hits again.
He could do that with his blindfold on right there. Beautiful set by Clemson with a screen on the right side of the floor, a little flare cut, and perfectly delivered. Nothing fancy, just fundamentally sound basketball by Clemson.
Boy, you knew Gerard would bounce back after his 2 of 12 shooting performance in the first round. There's the tough catch, Nisi.
Go up with it. He walked.
Travel, you're right. And that is the 8th Baylor turnover.
Spiro, watch this little play here. He comes off the screen, coming around. Then watch the flipped pass. It's a little floater that goes over all the defenders. And what does he do? He just drops it into his lap to shoot it.
They break that full court press. Nice pass. Exquisite dime. Hunter to Godfrey.
And that's a drill that everybody uses in practice. They come down, they practice their 3-on-2s, they practice their 2-on-1s. And it's that delivery and timing. You can't do it any better just than bait a big guy into thinking you're shooting the basketball.
Biggest lead of the night for the Tigers. Dennis, boy, pulled the string on it. Late whistle. Gerard can't believe it, as that'll put Dennis at the free throw line.
So you break the press by going over the top. Now you have a decision. Okay, we have numbers because we're going this way, and now there's a 2-on-1. Bait him, get him to move, and there's no way Misi's going to react quick enough to get back into that play for a defensive effort. Nice work both sides of the court. Diagonal one way, diagonal a second way, and Baylor just can't catch up to it.
Watch whip-around coverage of all men's games on your computer, phone, tablet, or streaming device with Fast Break, presented by Nissan in the March Madness Live app. Download today. Ray J. Dennis, conference leader in assists in the Big 12 this year, was 7th in the country. All Big 12 second team, Jimmy. He's going to have a big second half.
Yeah, they switch up the defense right now. I thought they might come and look to try to double team at the half court, but they fall back into a man-to-man. Clemson doesn't turn the ball over that much also, Spiro. I think they're averaging about 10 per game. And right now they're only at 5.
Top 50 nationally are the Tigers in that category. Shefflin off the front iron, rebound none.
Now, this is where Baylor needs to score. I know it's early, but they need to score to get some confidence.
Or John Wooden now manning the pivot with Misi on the bench. What do they turn to here? This is Bridges, guarded by Shefflin. 12 to shoot. Bridges gets a screen, misses, and more free throws.
Good decision by Bridges, because he can go by anybody at any time, whether you're small or tall.
For the ACC, maybe not being on the same level with some of the other power conferences. My goodness.
I'm sorry, did she say Duke won that game?
Yeah.
You're good, okay. Just checking.
10-point lead. Jimmy, that young man has not gone to the pink cotton candy.
Oh.
We're keeping tabs on him.
Like I said, my kids 2 days later. Get the wipes out at least, right?
So here's Jalen Bridges at the free throw line. Again, we're going to sound like a broken record, but if you're just hopping on with us, this is a Baylor team, top 5 offensive efficiency team in the country. Jimmy, they have 10 made field goals in this game and 8 turnovers. Just a defensive masterclass for Clemson, really as good as you can hope against Baylor.
Yeah, finding the perimeter. I think what Clemson might say is that, you know what, we'll go to the perimeter and take our chances of them driving the basketball or posting up against us, where they haven't really looked to do that at all. A lot of action away from the ball, too, with Clemson. Some simple, basic cuts. Here comes Gerard again after double screen.
This is Godfrey on the high post with 7 to shoot. The spin, we spun into trouble, and Nunn rips it away.
And look at the balance, though. Clemson reacts pretty quickly to get back.
Bridges thought about it, dances into the paint, guarded by Godfrey. Reset to Nunn, and as we cross the 15-minute mark. Walter from deep.
That's that catch and shoot where they set him up. Generally pretty reliable on that shot. Shefflin on the blocks if they want to get him a touch without Hall on the floor, just to give them some room.
Clark on the attack, underneath to Shefflin. Young man who's got terrific hands. Here he is, the junior, backing down the spin, the fade, and he's headed to the free throw line.
Get him some action on the blocks without Hall there. What that does, watch this little, he sets it up, watch the hand come in on his elbow. Right there. And he turns to the official. Look at him turning to the official like he's not going to get that call. Little space, makes some distance. Beautifully done.
John, what do you got on Shefflin?
Well, Spiro, Brad Brownell told me earlier this week that Ian Shefflin is the most popular player that Clemson has on campus, because people look at him and say, he's one of us. We could do that, but he's become a very, very key utility guy for Clemson. Guys entering today, 9 double-doubles this season.
Unreal, 16 and 12 in their opening round victory against New Mexico, again with P.J. Hall in foul trouble. And by the way, Jimmy, they're doing it again with Hall having to sit.
Right, and Shefflin making up for the lost time.
Shefflin sits here as well for Brad Brownell.
Baylor's got to get somebody with a hot hand. And
boy, they cough it up.
Yeah.
9 turnovers for Baylor.
Yeah, it's a combination of looking at the perimeter and really going after them off the dribble.
Boy, what a difference from what we saw from them.
Look at the volume of shots in the first round against different competition, obviously, with Colgate. There's that, back to the, no, they lost Gerard. That's a mistake.
Clark biggest lead for the Tigers.
Well, that was a breakdown in a lot of different ways for Baylor just then, losing Gerard, who puts up a soft three-pointer. Softer they go up when they miss. They're usually chances for the offensive rebounders to get a hand on them. I think they have to start moving this thing once again. I keep saying it. Go towards the basket with some action.
For a critical juncture of the game right here for Baylor. 13 and change. Dennis, one of their leaders, the upperclassman, taking contact. Massive play for the Bears.
So here he is coming across, Spiro, and he's going to come and he's going to make something happen. Watch the extension. Keep the ball away and then go underneath the arm. That's pretty tricky. And then watch this soft shot. Gerard shoots it from long range, but because he's a shooter and he's got great rhythm and rotation on the ball, hits the rim and doesn't kick out, 10 feet from the basket.
Ray J. Dennis had played 162 career games before he had a chance to experience the NCAA tournament. First time he's dancing.
See, I think Bridges and Dennis and the perimeter players can go by people, and I think they got to put that into their little arsenal in the second portion of their drives and get to the middle of the floor.
Chase Hunter backs away, resets. Shot clock at 7. Hunter stops on a dime, slings it. A little bit short, and the rebound corralled by Lohner.
That was a true clear out for him because he had a big guy switched out on him. Brad Brunell couldn't get him isolated quick enough.
Here comes Lohner, leans up over the top, no, fight for it. Ojanwada couldn't squeeze it.
That might be a
and
foul.
This is going to be
play.
a foul, you're
Yeah.
right. Reach in against Dennis. A little bit too much contact.
Just a step late, and you see his right side of his body colliding with Hunter. And I think it's the right call. He's not happy with it, but he was a touch late.
So P.J. Hall, Jimmy, sat down with 7:26 left in this half. Since then, Clemson is a +7 on the scoreboard. 12.5 to play. Clemson with possession and an 11-point lead. Gerard.
Good no pass there by Gerard to Godfrey.
This is Chase Hunter. Guarded by Walter, takes him off the bounce to the cup. No, fight for it. Lohner has it.
Yeah, good double team down in the post just then to make sure he didn't get an easy shot. Let's see if Dennis can continue to put some pressure. This is an opportunity for him to jump over Gerard, I think.
Well, they clearly like that matchup, Dennis against Gerard. But boy, they come up empty again.
And they're not getting much on the glass on the offensive side either.
So Baylor now 3 of 7 shooting in the second half. And for the night at a 35% clip. Lohner got a piece of Hunter, but he got him on the arm as well.
When he turned that corner, he exploded to the basket. Watch him come around and then puts it into its second gear and takes the hit. A good effort overall by Clemson here, establishing both sides of the floor.
Terrific Clemson offensive efficiency, Jimmy, and the ball movement.
Yeah, the balance. Look at that, 12 assists on the 18 field goals. So one thing I'm impressed with the Clemson team is you never get a feeling like some guy's tracking down a shot, that they're trying to hog the basketball. He keeps them moving, and they keep looking for one another.
All-time winningest coach in the history of this program is Brad Brownell. He's gotten them to the Sweet 16 once. It was 2018. That's the furthest that they've been since he took over. Will they be getting back to the Sweet 16 tonight with a trip to Los Angeles?
That's a good point right there on that shirt, huh?
How about this kid, Chase Hunter? Really struggled in their ACC tournament loss to Boston College, Jim. He shot 0 of 10 in that game. Bounced back, terrific in their opening round, 21.6 assists, and tonight, strong again, 15 points and 5 assists. Big basket. Meantime for Walter.
Yeah, that's that Walter and Gerard mismatch. They feel that they can use him to go over. He's 6'5", but he plays, I think he plays more like he's 6'7".
So Ian Shefflin back in for Brownell. P.J. Hall still on the bench. Gerard misfires. And the rebound taken by Lohner.
So if it worked once, do you slow down and go with that matchup again? I think I would. Run your set, see if you can get Walter with some isolation.
This is Dennis. Thought about the 3 for a moment. Gets a Macy screen. Lohner.
Back it out and give it to him.
Lohner wants to take it himself. Gets bottled up. Corner three, Walter, no. Offensive rebound, it's Bridges.
Nobody with a body on the left side over there for good execution to get it back to Walter. I think you got to ride him and force Clemson to make a change on that defensive end of the floor.
See the second chance points. Haven't been many of those opportunities for either team. Shefflin over the top of Misi.
I know he's a favorite on the campus.
That kid is playing with confidence.
He's playing well, too.
11-point Tigers lead as we come up on the midway point of the second half. Which of these two teams will be headed to the City of Angels in the Sweet 16?
They're taking advantage of that.
Walter, the bump, puts it down somehow, and he's fouled.
I think he's a little too quick, a little too tall, and can jump over Gerard when he needs to. See Gerard trailing the play again, and this is just a beauty how he gets this up with the spin. But it all starts out front when Gerard can't stop him with the basketball, and that's so he's only going to do damage from 5 feet and in under those circumstances.
Looks like P.J. Hall is going to check back in, waiting for Brad to tell him who to replace. It will be Wiggins as Walter readies at the free throw line. Conference freshman of the year in the Big 12. Led all freshmen in scoring, was 13th overall in points.
And Hunter came back on the floor also. He's 6'4", so I would guess he's going to match up with Walter down the other end.
It's a single-digit differential as we move past the midway point of the second half here in Memphis.
Yeah, look at the way they're trying to keep the middle of the floor open. There's Hall just sliding in.
Catches it on the box, spins into the double, and he's bumped. Well, sometimes you see a player get into trouble like that, spinning into a double team, but they bail him out.
Yeah, watch this little spot up, too. Get him the ball, and then you get out of his way.
Brad's parents
love it.
Looking for the call. His pop Bob, his mom Jenny. Of course, Bob was a touchdown the other day. Longtime high school coach in the state of Indiana. Nervous moments with P.J. Hall at the line, well short on that first. His pop Bob, so many years as a high school coach. Evansville Day School, Castle High School. He actually stopped coaching in '84 when Brad entered high school. Brad told us he loves spending time with the kids. Looks like he's still jotting down plays, Jimmy, on his pad.
Nice and quiet over there, just figuring things out.
Once a coach, always a coach. There's certainly nervous moments. Long shot from Bridges, offensive rebound by Walter. Dennis misses, fight for it underneath, and it's last touched by Misi.
Look at Shefflin again against 2 Baylor Bears just then.
And Baylor is now 4 of 14 from 3. This summer, the Targaryens, the Iron Throne, and the biggest show on TV are back. Season 2 of the HBO original series, House of the Dragon, premieres June 16th, only on Max. Here's P.J. Hall, elite big underneath, poked away.
And Dennis was a factor there, a second guy in. Big shot right here, Spiro.
None misfires, and their three-point struggles continue, but they catch a break. Last touch by Clemson.
Boy, that's the type of play that Baylor really likes. Watch this second action here. He goes in, and watch from this side. Gets a little bit of a poke as he goes by him, creating an opportunity to go down the other side of the floor.
So Baylor is 4 of 15 from deep. Jaden Nunn, who was sensational this year for Scott Drew, is 1 for 7 overall. Walter on a 3-no, trying to draw the whistle. No whistle on the play. And they come up empty again.
All of a sudden, we're under 9 minutes in this game. Seems to be moving pretty quickly.
Hunter, got it!
Just classic point guard play by Hunter in both games that we've seen him.
17 points for Hunter to lead all scorers, and they're up a dozen.
And what Clemson's trying to stop here is any kind of spurt.
Dennis! And then a whistle off the ball.
Yeah, that might be on Wiggins on the left side, possibly. And that shot should count if it's on Wiggins.
It will indeed count.
Yeah, you see Wiggins right there, Spear with the grab. He didn't block him out, but he tried to grab him out. Doesn't work that way.
Jimmy, they've given it to P.J. Hall.
Well, I don't know about that.
Let's see if they get this straightened out.
Let's see.
It definitely wasn't Hall. Sure they'll get that straightened out here over the next couple of seconds, but the inbound to Walter as we come up on the 8-minute mark. Ray J. Dennis gonna fire, a little bit short, and the rebound underneath by Godfrey. So whatever the case may be, Hall is on the bench.
Wow.
With 8 and change left.
Surprising, yeah.
Likely will give that foul to Wiggins, but nothing official just yet. Gerard!
Yeah, see him punch the air just a little bit. He needs to get his rhythm, so he can get on a little streak, maybe make a couple of buckets. I'm sure Brad Vernell doesn't realize they gave that to him.
And the call here will be against the Tigers. But boy, it has not been Baylor's night. Scott Drew desperately looking for answers. Here in Memphis, they're down 11. All right, the officials have changed that last call. They get it to Wiggins. So P.J. Hall, good news for Clemson, does indeed stay with only 3 personals.
Yeah, and watch on this side of the floor right there. You can see it's not a block out, it's a grab right from behind. One more time here. You see the hand goes across, ball goes through. And where is P.J. Hall? No place close to that play. I think it was just an official error just then, figuring out who was the fouler.
John, you were listening into that Scott Drew huddle. What did you hear?
Yes, Bureau. Well, there is no panic from Scott Drew right now. He just told his team, let's get back to our basics. Let's continue to get stops. Baylor's still very confident, even though it's down double digits here with just under 8 to play.
Well, it's a critical miss. Scott Drew has coached this program to the Sweet 16 5 times since he took over in 2003. But boy, they are up against it right here. Down 11 with 7:30 left in regulation.
The Hall back on the floor.
A Clemson team that is playing with supreme confidence. Hall throwing a haymaker.
Yeah, that's because Hall went out towards about 15 feet or so from the basket to set that play up and just waited a little bit. He's going to get called. All right, they said a block call on that.
Walter knocked to the floor.
Oh, no, yeah, that's against Hall, I think.
That'll be his 4th and a 1-and-1 here for the freshman.
Watch, he goes out here, and now he comes back. It's just a little setup in terms of the design of their play. They're so good with the high-low action. Bring 2 guys to you to cut to the Misi goes out, and Hall goes back. That was not a bright one right there for a guy who's an experienced senior to run through a screen like that.
Walter, terrific free throw shooter, misses again. 82% on the season, and it's last touched by Clemson. So Hall sits, Jimmy, here with his 4th, 7 and change left.
Watch him go right through this screen right now. He's just going to cut up and go right through the chest of Walter. I mean, you just can't do that under these circumstances. Nice.
Hunter got a piece. How good has he been? Gets the basketball back to Clemson as they hold a 13-point lead with under 7 left. Here comes Gerard trying to turn a corner. Underneath the kick, Wiggins. Shot clock at 6. Trying to feed the post to Shefflin. Bridger's got a hand on it with 5 seconds to shoot. Intense conversation between coach and his star player.
The bottom line is he needs some good move by the assistant to keep him moving right there. No need to get any further into that, but still, he's basically emphasized, you just scored down below.
5 to shoot, Shefflin to work, flicks it up, and his prayer is answered. What a potentially back-breaking sequence this is for Baylor. It's a 15-point game.
The first thing you think of is the shot clock. He knows it. And I'll give him 10 more of those and see if he can put one in. That's just a remarkable finish. Just a flip over his head. Beautiful.
Boy, it's like he's playing horse in the park.
Well, he also knows that with Hall on the floor, he's got to open up his game a little bit. Look at the numbers again.
And he has been cooking up something special. Big man on campus. Unable to complete the three-point play.
Would he take him out now? Get rid of this guy. Misses a free throw after all he's done. He's been remarkable.
11.6 rebounds, 3 assists for Shefflin as Dennis is bumped. So they keep putting Baylor at the free throw line, but Baylor has not shot it well. Just 11 of 18 tonight is Scott Drew's team at the stripe. This is against Chase Hunter, and that's his third personal. If you've just joined us, Baylor has not led in this game. Just a remarkable difference from what we saw from them in their opening round game to tonight.
Wow. Unbelievable.
How many points have they left on the stripe as Dennis misses?
Team that shoots 74% from the line, too.
It's a 15-point game as we come up on 6 left. Gerard shadowed by none. He's going to fire.
Opportunity to run right now.
Dennis on the push. Euro step, and he lays it up and in.
Good decision by Dennis just then. And a nice timeout just to regroup if you're Baylor.
That urgency level starting to ratchet up for the Bears. It's a 13-point game. Ray J. Dennis trying to get him back to within striking distance on TNT.
Here they come with some full court action. Try to speed Clemson up a little bit.
So P.J. Hall on the floor playing with 4 personals.
Hunter's a pretty good guard, though, when it comes to breaking presses and just controlling it with Gerard's very experienced players.
P.J. Hall has his 2 fingers taped together on his right hand. That just happened over the last couple of minutes. Beautiful catch, and he misses somehow. Nice feed by Clark, and a rare missed opportunity by P.J. Hall. Walter's going to launch. Big shot for Baylor.
And they got a layup. Clemson to take a fast layup. They'll call a timeout right now. So it sped them up a little bit. But I think if Clemson will take that Hall drive to the basket all day long. But then Baylor comes down and Walter answers with the long one. They're hanging around. With the Love it.
There's your game reset with 5:35 left in regulation. Clemson up 10 at halftime. They've led by as many as 15 points. A Jacoby Walter 3 has cut it to 10.
Notice how they're bringing Shefflin in the backcourt. Release the pressure from the perimeter-oriented Baylor team. Smart play there just to have him come up and take no chances in turning things over. The other end of the floor, too, Spear. I'd get Bridges involved if I were Baylor a little bit more.
They need to stop first here. Hunter poked away. Boy, Jaden Nunn with a defensive gem when they needed it badly. And the possession arrow is going to get it back to the Bears.
Yeah, the best time to go get it is when you see that ball going down from the hip down to leaving the guy's hand. That's when it takes the longest amount of time to come back up off the floor. He timed that absolutely perfectly. The guy named Walt Frazier, who used to know, used to do that better than anybody. A Saluki at one point.
One of the all-timers. Dennis kicks into the corner. This is Walter. He's been one of their stars this year.
Still say Bridges hasn't touched it much.
Dennis taking Hunter, and he lays it up and in. And Baylor.
You see the body bounce right now collectively with Baylor. They sense that they've shifted this game a little bit to their favor. Let's see if they go back to Shefflin and Hall with a little high-low.
7 straight for the Bears. It's an 8-point game. This is Clark, finds the laces, no, too much.
That's a big-time rebound, too. Shefflin was right there to get a shot at it.
It was Ojanwin strong on the glass. Dennis, the leader, got it! And here comes Baylor.
And they keep picking up. And they're not looking for steals, but they're just trying to pick up the pace a little, Spiro. Make Clemson do something that they're not comfortable with. Now, this is where the senior guards have to take over this game for Clemson to make sure they don't make mistakes. Here's the high-low situation.
Big possession here. Here comes Hunter inside, and he's bumped.
Nunn got him right at the end of that drive. Two possessions ago, We're looking at the ability to break people down. He just forces his way in there with some strength to get that one to drop. And then a little floater in the lane for money.
7 straight points for Baylor, and it's been this kid, Ray J. Dennis, Jimmy, leading them back.
Yeah, usually leads them from the assist standpoint where he averages 7 per game, but I think he's in his mind knowing that it's difficult to find guys against this Clemson defense. So he has taken over the scoring for Baylor. Look at those numbers, 6 at half, 17 in the second.
Let's check in with John.
Well, guys, Scott Drew just told his team to make sure that everybody stays on the same page. And he also said we have to stick to our principles. That's defending without fouling, something to keep an eye on down the stretch here, Spiro.
Just think of the remarkable consistency with Scott Drew at the helm and at the controls of this Baylor program. Chase Hunter hits on the first. Brad Brownell's parents looking on, but 7 straight 25-win seasons in sight now for Scott Drew. If Baylor can win tonight, trying to get them back to the Sweet 16 for the first time since they climbed the college basketball mountaintop in 21. Dennis
with hands
deflected to none. Still plenty of time to shoot. 12 on the timer. Dennis looking for some daylight. Hunter with him step for step. Dennis the fade. He's got it all working.
Boy, sweet move too. They tried the first time. Look at this double team. They force another timeout.
So Ray J. Dennis now with a new season high in his first season in this program. He hasn't played a bigger game than this for Baylor, with everything on the line here in Memphis, trying to will them back. There's Ray J's father, Ray, looking on. Nervous moments. Jimmy could only imagine what this is like as a father to watch this. How proud he must be with the winner advancing to Los Angeles to take on Arizona.
See, he can step over about a foot if he has to, but he doesn't. They didn't come in and really pressure that much. Nice defensive effort.
Boy, none got a hand on it as they ratchet up that full court pressure here.
Good hands, flicked it out of bounds. And then they have to get this. Okay. They have the new timeout. The timeout took away that 10-second violation for them.
Over the timeline as we come up on 3 minutes left. Shefflin going to reset to Hunter.
Watch the shot clock too, Spiro. Here it comes.
They feed the high post. They go to Hall inside. He missed.
Wow. The ball was slipped out of bounds too off the rebound. They'll break this guy off the dribble. You got a small versus big. There you go.
Dennis the drive and kick. None on the fire. Offensive rebound, Bridges, and he is bumped. It's going to be on Clark. And now the double bonus 10th team foul against Clemson. And 2 free throws here for Bridges.
This is just a rebound, Spiro, that Baylor knows they have to get. Watch the activity. And they get banged around right there in the middle of the floor by Clark. And now you put Bridges at the line.
So double penalty now for Clemson, and now Bridges to the free throw line. But the question now, can they hit these free throws, Jimmy? Baylor today, 11 of 19 at the stripe.
They have to hit these free throws.
Oof. Boy, they had missed 4 straight.
Keep those shoulders. Make sure you roll them.
There's Jalen's dad, Corey. Told you the other night, drove 11 hours here from their home in Fairmont, West Virginia.
Tight situation, Spiro. You want the shoulders going forward to finish your shot. You do not want to stand straight up or go backwards.
If you've just joined us, Baylor was down 10 at halftime. They've been down by as many as 15. This is the closest they've been since early in the first half as Clemson draws contact at the other end. 2 free throws for Chase Hunter. Make it a 1-and-1, I beg your pardon.
And you're right about how he, watch the way he comes in right now and creates the contact. That little move when he gets into his jump, he's throwing his body right towards the defender. If he makes that shot after it, so be it, but he wants to get the line as good as he can shoot at 87%.
Jimmy, I was right the first time. He was fouled in the act, so Hunter, 2 free throws.
87% or 86% shooter.
Chase Hunter, who's been sensational. 20 points, his second straight 20-point game. 7 of which have come at the free throw line to go along with 6 assists. Trying to hold on here with his Tigers. Dennis found the seam and Hall.
Hall saw that before, didn't he, with that drive to the basket? Watch the timing of this. He's going to just step in. We've been seeing right-hand drives by Dennis and left-hand drives. Look at the separation, too, from Hall, with 4 fouls, making a great play defensively.
2:29 left.
That's Nunn. Nunn's trying to get a lob.
P.J. Hall, keep in mind, playing with 4 personals here, has to be careful. Walter looking for some daylight, is bumped, and he's headed to the free throw line.
Question is, who did they get on that? There was a bunch of traffic in there. It might be on Clark, Spiro. I'm not sure yet, because when he turned the corner, a lot of orange shirts got in there. Watch this now. Does 5 come over and help out?
Jimmy, it is against Clark.
Yep, there's Clark in, the second guy. But big time shot to make that, to put that in.
Jacoby Walter has missed his last 3 free throws, but he sticks this one here.
82% free throw shoot. These guys are starting. Now they've turned it over. When you're playing better, Spiro, all of a sudden you're shooting free throws better.
It's a 1-possession game here in Memphis.
What was that? Somebody holding along the way? Yep.
Boy, Baylor didn't want that. 1-and-1 situation as they get Ojonwin to Jimmy. Scott Drew frustrated on that Baylor bench.
And Hall's going to go to the line because he was looking to set up down low and just got roadblocked a bit and held.
There's the foul situation for Clemson.
And here's that drive, and watch right here. This is where it occurs. A little bit of a hole, not much though, but caught him with the arm around him.
P.J. Hall and Clemson have not trailed tonight. Hits the front end. They're up 3 with 2:10 left. And a trip to Los Angeles and the Sweet 16 hanging in the balance.
Plenty of time on that clock too, Spiro, at 2:10. Probably like to see Baylor really drive this ball, get it down the floor, and drive it towards the paint area. And if they have to settle for a kick-out jumper, they can live with that because they are a great 3-point shooting team. But they've had success going to the basket, even though Hall did block a shot just recently.
So Brownell's going to go offense for defense, or defense for offense. Godfrey checking in. Brownell sitting Hall here as we hit the 2-minute mark. Dennis fires.
Oh, look at Gerard getting in the fray there to get his hand on it.
Clemson controls as we are inside of 2 minutes.
Look at how wide open the middle of the floor is, too. They're getting everybody out.
Gerard!
Oh.
Offensive rebound, Clark. What a bounce that is for the Tigers.
Sure was. He may go again on you right now.
Shot clock at 10. Hunter.
Uh-oh, that goes the other way, I think.
Offensive, says Jeffrey Anderson.
Great defensive effort just then, anticipating a drive, and he knew he wasn't going to go right on that one because there was too much traffic on the right side of the floor. You see over here, he avoids that, and Nunn just jumps it perfectly and waits it out. He's moving on the play, Spiro, but he had pretty good defensive position there.
And that's Hunter's 4th personal. Dennis.
Oh, wow.
Nearly coughed it up. They'll reset to Bridges.
I'd like to see Bridges do something, but he's got a tough defender on him. Here's a small versus big.
Dennis, the spin. They get him inside with Shefflin.
Oh, look at this, though.
Dennis poking it away and gets it back for Baylor. What a play for Dennis.
I think,
and they get a reach-in foul against Clark.
Yeah, watch the underhand shot. Shefflin really reads that perfectly.
So double bonus here. What a play that is for Baylor by Ray J. Dennis. Not only that, you get 2 free throws here with 62 seconds left.
And so watch now with the flick. Gets the flick, and does Clark push him? Yeah, a little bit. He has his hands on him. He's trying to steer him to the sideline. 72% free throw shooter.
So Clark now with 4 personals as well. Dennis. 1 possession game. There are the foul issues that Brad Brownell's thinking about. Hunter, Clark, and his best player, P.J. Hall. 62 seconds left in a 3-point game.
A straight up Baylor defense, regardless of what happens right now with this shot. And maybe a couple of tricks they might. Here's the trick right here. Go full court. I like this. Watch out.
Errant pass. It's caught by Hall. Guarded by Dennis over the timeline. Now to Hunter.
That's a good pickup, too, by Hall. A couple of 3 strides past half court.
One of these 2 teams will be punching their ticket to Los Angeles in the Sweet 16. Shefflin.
Look at Hall. They're trying to slide it to him.
Every pass, they turn it over, and Walter is bumped. And that is the 5th on P.J. Hall. What a massive sequence here. 2 free throws for Baylor, and Clemson loses its star player for the night.
And watch the unfortunate part of this, because if he could have just handled the ball, I know it's a tough catch for Hall down on the blocks, but now watch what he does. He just hits him enough to force him to lose his balance. You have to make that call.
Unbelievable. So Hall is done. 2-point game with 36.2 seconds left.
He goes to the line. Walter, right? 82%. Freshman going to the line, Spiro.
Walter, the McDonald's All-American, one of the elite freshmen in the country, and he misses on the first. He's 5 of 10 at the line tonight.
For an 82% free throw shooter.
Pulled the string on the second, and they come up empty.
Yeah, they got to start looking at the fouling situation. I think they'll just milk this clock. There you go.
Clemson trying to hold on for dear life without P.J. Hall. Godfrey is fouled. 10th against Baylor, and 2 free throws here for Godfrey.
And he knows this one's short. Look at him running off the free throw line. The other part about this, though, too, Spiro, is they're from the free throw line. They're 16 for 26. Remember when you mentioned they missed 3 1-and-1s the front end? Boy, have they left some points on the board.
But this is who they wanted to foul, Jimmy. He's only a 56% free throw shooter. Godfrey, the Georgian native, first is up and good. Or you could cut the tension in this place with a knife.
And if you're Baylor, you go in a hurry. Don't settle for a 3.
Possession game.
Big time. Get it and go. See if you can get to the 10. I know they're a 3-point shooting team, but break somebody down.
He's going to fire. Misses from 3. Gerard takes. And the second best free throw shooter in the country has a chance to push it to 6.
See, that long 3, Spiro, in my mind, kills you with the percentages, right? You try to get it to the basket to keep the game alive. You get this guy at the line, and once again, he could put blindfolds on.
P.J. Hall hoping his team could bail him out. Jimmy, just think of this Clemson team last year on Selection Sunday. First 4 out, missed the field, the heartbreak that went along with that. Can they hold on here? 13 seconds. Walter, a couple of fakes. He'll fire, misses, fight for it underneath. Godfrey has it, and he's fouled. And they can taste it here in Memphis.
Way to recover if you're Clemson. They were in a little bit of trouble at the 4-minute mark, and they regrouped in a big-time way.
What a crazy final minute. Brad Brownell watched his star foul out with 36 seconds left. Baylor had taken the momentum. Boy, this kid looks pretty good for a 56% free throw shooter. Brad's parents looking on. Can't imagine what they're feeling right now. Bob and Jenny.
You sure we have the right number up on this kid, the way he's shooting free throws? Wow.
8 seconds left. Here comes Dennis. Three-pointer, no. And Clemson's march through the madness will continue to the City of Angels. The Tigers are marching on to the Sweet 16.